of what they know. Thank you very much again. Now I'm looking at a vice president of iCARI. He's a data scientist, and I'm smiling because we talked together with Ján Rapan, who's now on the change. Because for me, it's a mystery how they can cooperate with Braňo. Braňo is a huge energy, and he can improvise and just emotionally, talk with people. But you are, 1010 data. Or thank you very much for introducing me in this way. Yes, so I'm giving you the floor and enjoy. Thank you very much. I would like to again welcome you, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for a great introduction, and thank you for this. Thank you that you've given us your trust that we can cooperate. I would like to specify I'm a more structured person, and us with Braňo, we are like water and fire, and we are completing each other. And after what we've been through, during a couple of nights, at various events, we have various secrets, but I'm not going to talk about them today, because today we are going to deal with more important things. When I was thinking about how to call this presentation, I was thinking of really get the title that would be up to the point, and I found one on LinkedIn. Emissions are increasing. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Yes, this is it. Emissions are on the rise, and this is what climate change is mainly about. Because on the social network there is everything, and there is their mixed tastes, and 80% of all the information can just be shredded. Let's have a look at it. I would like to ask for a very important thing, which is Institute has transformed in May into a certified subject dealing with climate adaptation. It's very broad area. We cannot just name it in a simple terms. We are talking about business, the whole population, municipalities, engaging them so that it all makes sense. And today I will talk about the cooperation that's behind us, because we are very well known in internationally or abroad, because this is a specificity of Slovakia, that when you are successful in Slovakia, you are usually well known abroad. We've been to the New Zealand, we've been to World Congress, and we have given our speech. We've got some attention, and we have another types of cooperation with other interesting organization. And I'm sorry if someone is not there, because I couldn't put everything or all the institutions there. So we are dealing with green and blue infrastructure. Green infrastructure is greenery, whatever, like forests, meadows, grass, and anything that is green, basically. And lately, it's more about brown infrastructure, because nobody takes real care of that. And then we deal also with blue infrastructure, which means water retention. And today we will talk a lot about that. Gray infrastructure is everything going into the sewage system, into the canalization, everything that we should learn how to process. And biodiversity means we are returning life into our streets, so that all the concrete streets are getting, changed into something livable. And even today we are going to talk about the bees, about pollinators. We will talk about biodiversity in the cities. And we are talking about buildings. It doesn't mean if it's a family house or it's a big shopping center, or if it is big production plants, for example, Volkswagen, and their surroundings. Logically, we also deal with another thing, which is the energetic efficiency of the buildings. Today, it's a very important topic. And also today, we deal with all impacts that influence that, also mysterious acronyms that fly all over the internet, which is ESG, CSR, SDG, and so on, and also logically with emissions. And what we are also dealing in depth is adaptation planning. It's something that we need to understand in depth so that we can deal with adaptation plans. In order to go into it, we need to understand what to improve so that it makes sense. Climate change. Very often, I'm only on LinkedIn. I don't have any Facebook or other terrible things. You cannot find me there. But at least at the social network of LinkedIn, like, people do not have a clue what does it mean. So the weather, to explain, it's the status that occurs in the atmosphere at a certain time and place. So, for example, today the weather in Bratislava at 10 a.m. we have this and this kind of weather, this atmospheric pressure, and this kind of temperature. Weather conditions, many people are mistaking it for a weather forecast, because forecast is something for the next week. Conditions is something that we are investigating backwards. So it means what kind of conditions were somewhere at a specific time. We are talking about weeks and months. And what the climate is, it's a cycle that's repeating itself. It's a cycle of weather. And to put it simply, in summer, there is warm, and in snow there is cold. And even though we don't have snow, or we haven't had it for almost 20 years because of this climate change, in summer we used to have very pleasant summer storms, and now they are very heavy torrential rains. Climate change, it's a significant change of everything that I have just told that is spreading out all over Earth unequally or unevenly, because we cannot say that, okay, these specific changes will happen in Auckland, this will happen in Japan. We firstly need to understand what a climate change is and why do we need to deal with it. And we are not only dealing with weather. That would be just a very, very small portion. Often we talk about climate crisis, climate emergency. This is not something you will find in IPCC reports. These are already concepts that are regular, that are normal. If you want to deal with the topic and you want to use this terminus technicus, what you need to know is climate change, not climate changes, but climate change. Global warming. It's just a result of climate change. It is not a reason or a cause of climate change. This is very important, because if we want to deal with the mystery of climate change, we need to see what the interaction and the relation is. Okay, what impacts the climate change? Many people say, oh, just ask people. Unfortunately, not. The climate change has been here since forever, hundreds of millions of years, and it's a normal phenomena. It's solar activity, volcanic activity, ocean circulation. If you heard something about El Nino effect, something like that, then it's the change of Earth's orbit vis-a-vis sun. It's axial tilt. Then these are natural changes in greenhouse gas concentration. So these are natural changes impacting climate change as such. And I like to use this chart that is being updated regularly on X. You can see the progress from 1940 up until now. It's been updated until yesterday. Then you can see gray columns, and this represent on Y-axis annual surface temperature of Earth. You can see that from 1940 to 1980, it was the rise in temperature was really negligent, and then from 1980, so pink columns, until 2000s, it started to raise, and how it keep raising nobody, even Elon Musk, doesn't need to be ashamed. And if we count in the natural phenomena naturally impacting the climate change, I chose the most important volcanic periods. You see the abbreviation of the strength of volcanic activity, and when the volcano explodes, there is a huge amount of dust and other components that should cool the surface. And you can see that here there was the volcano exploding, and then the next year it was warmer, and the same here. So it means that it's not just the volcanoes. If we look at the solar activity, you can see it in this yellow line. Well, ladies, if you see other color there, it's, I'm a man. The solar activity is decreasing. It works in cycles. It degrades. And it's also not about the solar activity. And if you put it together, volcanic activity and solar activity, we don't see any apparent association. And these are the biggest, the strongest El Nino activities. They are called strongest El Nino activities, where the temperature rose significantly one year and then significantly decreased. This is expected. But if you see the cap or the ceiling was exactly in this recent period, 2015-2016. Last year El Nino didn't reach the same activity, but look where we have gotten with the surface temperature of our Earth. Therefore, if someone says that people has nothing to do with it, I say please have a look at the chart, because there is association with the people, and we are not the only ones that are causing the climate change, but we are really boosting it. When speaking about anthropogenic factors, yes, we are growing. We are getting more and more on the planet, and the increase has been huge. And we are also fantastic in deforestation. New Zealand is really superb. I had a speech there, and I found out that New Zealand is a green country, but not thanks to forest, but thanks to meadows. They have 60% of forests, we have 39%. Then the burning of fossil fuels, land use changes, agriculture, industrial processes, and we are also very good in not using the energy efficiently. We are not really using it. And also consumer life. Sometimes we buy the things that we do not need just to be happy for a moment, and then the human stupidity, that is the most important factor. This is also a huge factor impacting all of that. And if we have a look at it from the chart perspective, we have the year of 1800, that was before the Industrial Revolution, and you can see the number of population in individual territories of our planet. White means 0, and reddish areas are over 3,200 population per 1 unit. And that was in 1800, and you can already see that the Asia was blooming. And when you have a look at 2023, okay, that was 1800. Okay, I did my mistake. So that was 1800, 2023. 1800 and 2023. So we have grown in numbers. And now you can see Anthrom. This is how do we use, or how did we use planet in 1800, and how do we use it now? You can see that the usage of individual parts of planet has been also on increase. In order to understand emissions, we need to really understand them, at least on this basal level. Greenhouse gases, these are just basic components of greenhouse gases. The chemistry was, I was suffering. And today I have some relation to it. So water, evaporating water steam is the biggest component of that. Then it's carbon dioxide. So something that is, produced by incinerating a fossil fuel, burning fossil fuel. Then another gas coming from the landfills, methane. Then we have nitrogen. This is because we use fertilizers. And then fluorinated gases that we use mainly in production of very important semiconducting components we cannot exist currently without, especially in the metallurgy and processing of aluminium. The numbers below means it's their potential vis-a-vis carbon dioxide. So one molecule of methane coming into the atmosphere has 28 times stronger than one molecule of carbon dioxide. So this is about the warming effect. And if you look at other gases, it's even more. And if you understand that, you can get into the, basis or the ground floor, actually basement of the house. And let's look at the data from another perspective. So how are we doing with emissions? The most significant source from the European Research Center. This is the database of September 2024, and we are going to talk about this data. In 2023, globally, with all emissions, we have grown by almost 4%. We are not going down, we are growing. In some magazines, I keep reading that we are going to be on the decrease, but this is not real. But we can applaud ourselves because the European Union decreased by this great number. This is the last positive news because India has leveled it out in 2023 by the increase in their emissions. So the decrease of the European Union has been leveled out by India. So as if we have done nothing. Let's go on. Looking, why I'm talking about India, I will talk about BRIC, which is Brazil, Russia, China, India, and South Africa. So China in 2023 has grown by 5%, and India by 6%. And now let's see the pie chart of the emissions of BRICS in 2023. So the BRIC countries, comprise or constitute half of all the emissions of this world. Then there is the USA and the EU, and the remaining 20 countries that are leveling the chart so that we see it in a Pareto rule 80-20, and then there are 84 remaining countries of this world. You can see the arrows. The BRIC countries are on the rise. EU and the USA are on, are decreasing, and all other countries are on the rise. You can see what kind of problem do we have with the Green Deal. We are destroying our economy, and the whole world is showing us, the middle finger. Thank you. Let's go on. When we have a look at this red part of the pie, and who is the biggest producer? China, from the perspective of energy, is such a producer of emissions that European Union would create a couple of would need to be there a couple of times, and even even the aviation and the marine sea transportation is not really creating so much emissions. Are we really going to cancel aviation? Shouldn't we have a better look at BRIC countries? When we look at the development of the CO2 emissions, this is the development from 2020 to 2023. You could see the COVID period where there was a decrease. And whenever you are doing any comparisons, please get the COVID period out of the chart, because if you are getting it in your comparison, it's bad. You can see the development year on year increase is they are showing us that we are still we are still growing. Let's have a look at the basic sectors. This is energy production, transportation, industrial combustion, meaning emissions produced in industry. These are the processes not coming out from incineration, but evaporating, for example, the concrete. Then fuel exploitation, agriculture and waste. This is a minimum component, almost nothing. Let's talk about the most important sector so that you understand where the problem lies. Let's talk about the power industry. So heat production and energy production. How does it look from the perspective of the pie chart? What is the share of the biggest producers? Big BRIC countries are really ahead. They have the biggest part of the pie. USA and EU are the minimum, and then the rest of the countries. When we see what was the progress from 2014 to 2023, we can see that the BRIC is really on the go. They are really increasing. And the USA are already in decrease. Their share is 10%, and the European Union is also on decrease, 4%. This world should have a look here, and our politicians shouldn't be looking here. There will be time and space for questions later. Let's talk about the transportation. Transportation is everything that moves, be it railways or highways, and also aviation and sea transportation. We can see that the transport makes 21% of the pie, and you can see the BRIC is leading, USA behind, and the USA is the biggest emission producer in the area of transportation. So BRICS are on the growth. There is we cannot see the end of it. And China, even though they are the biggest producer of electromobiles, they still are growing in emissions. USA 21%, again, we can see no end, and the European Union finally decreasing and sharing 9% of all emissions. When we talk about the industrial emissions or industrial combustion, we are talking about 17% of all the pie. Again, BRIC countries, they are having the first place in this Olympics. USA 7% and European Union only 5%. You can see that European Union is the only one decreasing. Everybody else is just doesn't care. Now, talking about the buildings. So these are the emissions, for example, when you have heating place, and the buildings create 9% of these emissions. And again, BRIC countries are on the lead, USA growing, and 13% of the European Union, 30% of decrease. So, and I have prepared what if scenario. So what if something happens, what would follow, and what if we don't do something, what would happen then? And now we are talking about 2030, where our emissions should be leveled. They shouldn't be on the increase. They should be decreasing. How should that happen? We can see IPCC curve. And let's have a look What would need to happen? Year on year, we would need to decrease with this, like in this rocket speed, so that we are, on the negative side of emission production by 2030. And this is a problem because if someone finds facts under this chart, I will get them a great bottle of rum. If you remember the previous slides, we are, heading somewhere else, but for the decrease. If we had some magic, stick, even if we just erased European Union with a magic wand, we would still grow. And if other countries started to decrease and European Union would be just, leveled, what would need to happen? What would need to happen for this to happen? The BRIC countries would really need to reduce their emissions significantly, and this is not going to happen. We don't have such a magic wand of Harry Potter. And all these what-if scenarios about 2030, I don't think they are realistic. I'm not a negativist, but I see more into the numbers than the regular people. In order for us to create these scenarios, we need to have really deep knowledge. And just a simple example, let's have a look at the power industry of the Slovak Republic from the perspective of energy production. So to switch off nuclear plants, and everything will be green, everything will be good. Let's have a look at the data, the real data that are as of 18th October 2024 from the most trusted resource, getting the information about the production on an hourly basis from each European Union member state. They are publicly available. Everybody can see it and analyze it. And we can have a look what the production looks like. As of 18 October 2024, this country has produced almost 23 terawatt hours of energy. And the significant part was nuclear energy. The blue one is hydro energy, and then you can see the gray one, natural gas. At the beginning, we also produced from the coal, no longer, and also fossil fuels. If we divide it according to standardization, Slovakia has reached 84% of low emissions, and we are in Europe, we are on the second place behind Swedes. Recently, I've read an open letter reading how bad we are in Slovakia, and these people, they don't have any clue about the energy. So let's have a look at this medium part of biomass, natural gas, and oil and coal. As of 18th of October, and for the October, we have already achieved almost 86% of low emission resources because we have cut the coal. And we can observe this on an hourly basis, how much emissions have we produced. Our median is on the number of 53 grams per kilowatt hour. Germans are on the level of 500. So just to compare, so that you can compare it, photovoltaics, according to IPCC assessment reports, has the scope or the range of emission quite low, and we are having already lower emissions than the photovoltaics, because there is a difference in emissions for utility systems and for households. And if we put in batteries that we need, or battery resources, if we started to plug it in, we will worsen our emission number. we really need to consider how we are going to produce the electricity in the future. We cannot be emotional about it. We need numbers. If we finish Mochovce, we will go under 40 grams per kilowatt hour, which would be a great number. So what about the European Union from the perspective of emissions and electric energy or power production? So Germany, Poland, Italy, Czech Republic, and the rest of the Europe, these 7 countries of European Union, they create all emissions. And we need to start prioritize the numbers. We cannot be emotional about that. And let's compare. Germany produces so much emissions at production of power as Poland, Czech Republic, and Bulgaria altogether. And the orange column is the rest of the European Union. We need to start using the numbers, because if we are not going to use the numbers, we are going to lose touch with the quality adaptation plans production. Slovakia, it's really negligent in this perspective. It's all about the numbers, and this is the result. This is the perspective not on the global warming, but this is the warming of the territory of our country. This warming is on the increase, regardless of cutting all emissions from tomorrow. It will still be increasing. We should forget the Paris Agreement and 1.5 Celsius. This is not unreal. We should start to have a look at our country and how it continues to warm, and start to make adaptation plans based on that, or to look at the territory of the European Union and to start to make adaptation plans for this territory, not based on some global number or one number. This is a mistake. And this is the end of my presentation. If we want to deal with the climate adaptation, we need to use a critical thinking. There is a very big difference between hate and critical thinking. Hate is only when we shout and criticize everything with no suggestion how to change it. And critical thinking is bringing these solutions what to change. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our conference. Enjoy it. I hope I was not skeptical for you, but this is something that should startle us. And at the end of our conference, we will have a discussion panel, where you could ask all your questions. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I didn't put you to sleep, and I wish you a beautiful experience. Thank you. This is live. As a moderator, you meet a person who is very clear about all these things, and you have mentioned many facts, and I believe that many people also absorb this fact. And you said that you are not negativist, you are not even a skeptic, but you look at all the facts realistically. They don't like you already. Many people just don't like you. Believe me, the people don't like it when you really or realistically address the things. I really took some key things. Many people were nodding, and I believe they nodded because they just didn't sleep. They just didn't get enough sleep. Thank you again very much. Janka already mentioned that there will be time for your questions, so please put them down. If something fascinates you, if you want to add something into it. At about 5:40, I guess there will be a space for discussion. And for you watching us online, please smile, because you never know when the camera is pointing at you. Let's move on.